Excited to have Shawn on the podcast today. Going to have him introduce himself briefly and then get into some great questions around Grit Rising, what made him find the success he has today, continue on that success, and continue to develop those around him. So, Shawn, if you could go ahead and give a quick introduction, we'll go from there.
Appreciate it, Trent. Thanks for having me on, man. It means a lot to me. And yeah, my name is Shawn Meaike. I was born and raised in Connecticut. I'm 51 years of age. Moved to Florida 4 years ago. My entrepreneurial journey or life was, I went to college to play baseball. I was a social work major. My mom raised me and my brother by herself, worked 3 jobs. And after I worked real hard at the state with abused, neglected children for 14 years, I realized I want to do something better for my family. And honestly, Trent, quite honestly, I got to the point where I didn't know that I could not assault my male clients. I'm not trying to be funny. Like, they would do things to children, and I would sit in their living room. And after a while, I was like, I'm going to knock one of these people out. I'm going to punch this dude so hard in his face, his teeth are going to come out like bloody chiclets. And then they're going to fire me. So I didn't feel like I was making a difference. 14 years, I was seeing the kids of the people I had before, and it was just I worked really hard. I think I did some things with some amazing families, but I got to a point where I think I was just starting to blow, and I wanted to do something on my own. So launched a bunch of businesses. I'll make it quick: real estate, waste management, life insurance. I built them. I've exited them, sold them for more money than I ever thought I'd make in 100 lifetimes. And I'm a blue collar sales guy at heart, which is why a lot of people are in business with me, because I don't make money off of people. I make it with them. So that's the long and the short of who I am and what I do.
You just touched on such a unique perspective because you went from sitting in a living room, almost punching out the dad, to sitting in a room convincing the dad that he loves his family enough to buy life insurance for them.
Yep.
Granted, it's 2 different parties, but walk me through kind of how that dynamic was in your own mind going, I went from this to this, and it's the same, but now I'm talking about 2 total, like the most unselfish act you can have of buying life insurance when you're gone to protect your family, and then the selfish act of where guys couldn't keep their own cool for what they did to their own children.
One of the things I wish people did better, when I worked at the state, I trained workers to do what we did. And the reason I was effective, I was honest. I was honest regardless of what I thought the consequence was. If, Trent, I was sitting with you and your wife, and I thought you needed to leave the home to keep the kids safe, I would look at her and I would say, get rid of him in front of you, or we're going to take your kids. Why? Because he's an awful freaking human being as it pertains to being a parent. Simple. When I sat with families, because of my background, selling life insurance was actually, first of all, selling life insurance is easy. I tend to pick things that people have to have. 90 days into selling life insurance, Trent, my life changed because I went to a home. I did not have an appointment with these people. I door knocked them. I had called them a bunch of times. I door knocked them, and they finally answered. And the lady opened the door. Her name was Lisa. And she said, are you able to help me? And I said, well, sure. That's what I'm here for. And she said, well, I'm dying of pancreatic cancer. She's in her early 30s. And I said, well, how long do you got to live? She said 2 months. I was like, okay, well, that's not going to, I can't help you. I don't want to lie to you. It's nothing I can do to help you. And her husband came around the corner. Make a very long story short, I pushed hard for him to get life insurance. He didn't want to get it. He had it through work, but it wasn't his policy. Didn't even know what he had. I got him, with her help, to get a $250,000 policy. And 2 days later, at 32 years of age, he died in a motorcycle accident. And the family got $250,000. And at that point, I was like, I already love what I did. And it was very easy to me to tell people the truth about their families, and I think people really respond and respect you when you say things that they're already thinking, because you have the courage to say them. When you say things that people can judge you for, or that you get uncomfortable for, people respect you more, because then you're putting them first. You and I are friends, Trent, and you're doing something jacked up and I don't tell you, eventually you'll lose respect for me. But if I'm like, Trent, you're my friend, and I think what you're doing is pretty jacked up, and here's the reason why, I risk my friendship with you. I risk you judging me. I risk all those things. So selling life insurance and being in people's homes, talking about that, was really, really simple and very rewarding. It was very weird to be having conversations that you'd leave. And after a day doing that, I was like, this was amazing. After a day, the last appointment I ran as a social worker, the guy had killed a child like 3 years earlier. He beat a baby to death because he was a punk piece of shit. And he was out of prison and was with a new woman. And he had assaulted her daughter. She's like 6. And I'm in the living room. We're the only ones there. And he said, the devil made me do it. And my stories, Trent, are true. Unlike a lot of people on social media, I tend to just tell the truth. It makes it really easy. And
Yeah.
I said, is the devil telling you to hit me? And he was like, no, like everything in my heart and soul wanted him to get up so I could take out my 14 years of frustration on him. And I realized I had to get out. But yeah, life insurance was a very rewarding and very empowering way to protect people. So it was an easy transition for me.
I'm uniquely enough, I'm a son of a life insurance salesman, and my father was good at it because he had conviction in what he was doing. And you can hear the conviction in your voice of what it was like selling life insurance. How did you get that conviction so early on in your life insurance career? Where did that come from?
Way I was raised, I watched my mom not have it. I watched, when you're raised by a single mom and you want to protect her as a boy, right? It's kind of like it's your job, right? And then you're too young to do it, and you watch the way people talk to her and the way she viewed herself. And I made a lot of commitments to myself when I was younger. And one of them was that I was never going to let anybody treat me that way. That I was going to be respectful to people. I wasn't going to try to do anything to harm anybody, but I wasn't going to let anybody speak to me that way. And I also realized that most of the people I spent time with that were successful, they had a passion and they had the strength to tell people the truth. The men and women I watched as I grew up, they didn't do those things my mom did. Love my mom with all my heart and soul. I'd do anything in the world for her, but I didn't want to duplicate that. And I saw that in my family a lot. A lot of people just didn't carry themselves that way, so. And when I started as a social worker, it's funny because my issue was my boss would be like, did you really say that to him? I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what but what was it that I said wasn't true? Like, what part of that wasn't accurate? I also thought I owed it to the families to tell them what the repercussions would be. I didn't want to lie to them. If this happens, this is going to happen. And life insurance for me, I was already pretty passionate about it, but once that husband died, and then she died shortly thereafter. The only money the kids got was the $250,000. His life insurance policy through work was $10,000. What was that going to do? She didn't have any life insurance. That's why she was trying to get it. I committed myself to this. Every family I met with, I had to envision that they wouldn't be here the next day. And if somebody had called, because and love your story with your dad, the worst thing a life insurance agent can go through is somebody calling you, a family member, because they found your card in their home. Hey, how you doing, Trent? This is weird. My mom passed, but she had your card in her house, and it says life insurance, Trent. And we're like going through her records. I lived in 4 states away. Did she get life insurance with you? And then you have to say no. What I want to be able to do is, in my mind, is go no, but I did everything I could to get them to buy it. I didn't go out to make friends. I went out to make a difference. And most people in their lives just want to be friends with everybody. Just everybody's got to be my friend. Everybody's got to like me. Shit, that don't ever worry me. I don't care about that at all.
When you look at behavioral analysis of a good salesperson, the amount of people that are great interviewers but terrible salespeople because they care too much about being liked is like a huge deviation. You have sales guys that fail all day long because they're so concerned about being liked. But what's unique about it is it's not being liked because you're not doing the right thing. It's being liked for doing the right thing. It's in your own self and with your own story that you had that conviction to do it. And what's unique about life insurance is you have the people that are on social media just to be on social media, the Kramers or the Susie Ormonds of the world that say it's a terrible product, but then you really see what it's done for people over a lifetime. Again, I was born into it, so I see it, and I saw how much. But even today, there's sometimes where people are like, "Oh yeah, your dad sold me some policy I didn't need." I said, "Well, it's not for you; it's for your beneficiaries." And it's such an unselfish act, but it's so easy to take shots at. As you've built those up around you, because to build the successful agency you've done, you have that conviction, you have that insight. But how did you find the right people and then train them to have the same conviction you did? Because that's built, whether it's building the army is the hardest part. There's always a single warrior that can go out and do it, but building the army is.
People argue with me all the time. Well, not argue with me all the time, but they'll tell me they don't agree with me when I say this. And I say anybody can do what I've done, right? Like anybody. And I'll go places and there's guys that want to help me with things. They're like, you shouldn't say that. I'm like, well, it's true. I built a culture before I built the Army. I also didn't think there was the right person or the wrong person. Somebody said to me early on, you can't say enough of the wrong things to the right person. You can't say enough of the right things to the wrong person. And I'm like, dude, that's some old multi-level bullshit. The bottom line is people need somebody to believe in them. I set a culture up, Trent, that was non-negotiable. And I mean non-negotiable. First of all, when you build a sales organization, if you sell yourself, you're not beholden to anybody. I sold enough to make a living and take care of my kids and pay my bills. I didn't need anybody. If I hired Trent and Trent's 100 friends, cool, congratulations. Trent, I can lead you to where you want to go, but I don't need you. I want to be in business with you, but I don't need to be in business with you. Dude, I don't complain. I'm going to an office later today, and one of the talks I'm giving them is I pay the bills in the office. If you have if you don't like something and you have a solution, that's constructive feedback. If you don't like something with no solution, you're just complaining. You might go like, well, you want to act like everything's perfect. No, I don't want to act like everything's perfect. But if you don't like that it's raining today, call God. What solution do you have to that? I don't. Then shut your mouth. And that's what eats people apart. So I set a culture that was attractive to people that wanted to win. I don't think the right or wrong people. People that wanted to win were like, dude, I like this culture. And people that weren't in a place at that time, by the way, they didn't like it. But it didn't mean they wouldn't be at that place in 2 years. That's the other thing, dude. I have a lot of grace. I've been through a lot of things in life. I've been sober 23 years. I've made a lot of mistakes. I do the best I can. We all have the things we will and won't do and mistakes we've made in areas of our life. But in business, I've worked my ass off to help people. And I've never been afraid to set that culture. So building the Army also was about me delegating and not micromanaging. Those that can't manage, micromanage. I built people. What does that mean? I let them make mistakes. I gave them decisions that were above their pay grade and let them try it. And sometimes they jacked it up. And I come in, put my arm on their back, go, hey, bro, it's all going to be good. Like, it's okay. How do we fix it now? And sometimes I let them try to fix it, and it makes it worse. But they're not life-ending decisions. There's just, I want people to know I believe in them. And, somebody asked me, what's the causation of low self-image? And I said, dude, everything I've read, I went to college, got an undergraduate degree in social work, got a master's degree in criminal justice and psychology. And I don't know that I needed to go there to learn this, but lack of unconditional love. Like, my mom loved me. I get arrested. She comes to the state police barracks. She bails me out. She's mad. She's pissed. She might whack me, but she still told me she loved me. She never stopped telling me. That lady, every day of my life, told me she loved me when I didn't think I deserved it. So a lot of the folks that come work with us, dude, they have people that conditionally love them. They have parents that conditionally love them. Conditionally. I tell my son and my daughter, 20 and 22, every single day that I love them. Every day. No matter what they do, don't do. And I do a lot of that in my business. I find people that are looking to be part of the culture. And Trent, guess what? It's not for everybody, and that's okay too. So, but again, it's not for you today. I expect a lot out of myself, and I expect a lot out of other people, but it starts with me. And I think it's allowed me. I did this training called the psychology of the sale. It's 45 minutes of, understanding what people think. I did it in real estate, did it in life insurance, did it in waste management, did it in construction materials, but I also do one called the psychology of an override. Meaning, you want to build a business, Trent, if you hire me, and whatever business we're in, the minute I realize that A, you need me, B, you don't work hard, and C, you think you're too big and too bad where you want to micromanage me, I'm uninterested. And after a while, I look to my left, I look to my right, and those guys are uninterested too. And then history says every dictator gets overthrown. It's just a matter of when. It's a numbers game. So I've always worked hard, man, and stay humble. I hate egotistical people. I was doing a podcast the other day with Chris Carter, who's a Pro Football Hall of Fame guy. And I said, how did you not react to fans when they said personal things, got in your face when you were coming out there? He said, because God gave me talent. And I was blessed with athletic talent. I thought it was a gift from God, and I didn't want to disrespect it. He said to me, do you think you have entrepreneurial talent? I said, no, there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. There's nobody. I love when people go, I'm a pretty good businessman. I'm like, oh my God, the love of God. You work hard at what you do. You put good people around you. Knock it off. So I'm humble, dude. I'm careful. I'm never complacent. And I lead the people I work with the exact same way. But we're in business together. They don't work for me. They work with me.
When those guys are working for you, or girls, when are you making that decision that they're not the right fit for your culture?
They make that decision, Trent. I give them expectations that we have. Now, it depends. Employees and independent contractors are different. So like the life insurance company I run, there's 39,000 independent agents. They're independent contractors. They're not my employees. I do not pay them a salary. So for me, I don't decide if they part ways with me. I don't pay them anything. They get paid a lot if they go to work. They get paid by the insurance carriers. We have a great setup, but it doesn't come out of my pocket as a salary. They get paid what they get paid. My employees are different, right? I pay them. So when I hire employees, first 30 days is a work and test period for everybody I've hired for the last 30 years. Life insurance, construction, real estate, waste management. And I give them the expectations. And, I had a guy teach me a long time ago. The first time to let somebody go is the first time you think about it. You think like they're probably not a good fit. It's probably like they're not a good fit. They're an employee. As an independent contractor, man, I let people phase themselves out if they want to. And also, Trent, sometimes they just stick around. They go to some meetings. They go to some trainings. And my mom taught me when I was younger. She said to me one day, I got in trouble at school. She said, I will always be okay if you get into an issue, fight, altercation, if the guy's bigger, stronger, older than you. But if I ever found out you bully anybody, and I was afraid of my mom, like for the love of God, and I never forgot that. Like, so in business, why be mean to the guy or girl that's not really doing a lot and they're not hurting anybody? Why not they're not asking to be challenged right now, So I think now if they come up to me and start asking me questions about what they can do differently, people go, what's they always say like, well, I have a hard time getting out of my own way. And I'll just sit there and look at them and go, please stop doing that. So I start pulling all their crap away. Please stop. That's just a weird thing to say. Knock it off. You don't know how to get out of your own way. Of course you do. You just have not made a decision in your life to do that yet. And you need to figure that out. I'm here for you when you figure this stuff out. I'm not your therapist, but I'm going to help you with your business once you figure it out. So Trent, I just try to be, as long as you're not taking up my time, you're not hurting anybody, dude, you can come to meetings. I have some people that didn't do anything for a couple of years and just watched. And then when it was their time, it was their time. And you know what they said to me? You were never mean to me. You were never, dude, why yell and scream and pick on and push and constructively criticize somebody that's not asking for it? Yeah. Like you got the guy in a football team, he don't play. Why be mean to him? He already doesn't play. What, I got to go down to the end of the bench and be mean to him? Like, why don't I just be nice to him? Stick up for him. He's on my team. I love him. I want him to be okay. And also, everybody reacts to things differently. I like to be challenged. I like to be yelled at. I like it. If you know what you're doing, I like it. If you know what you're doing, I like being coached that way. But not everybody does. So I let them make that decision. But I think that my heart literally breaks for people who have not gotten around enough successful entrepreneurs, because the greatest gift I got was getting around wealthy people and realizing they were not smarter than me. It didn't matter who their mommies and daddies were. They didn't have a talent. They had great attitude, good work ethic. They learned along the way. They found a way to make good relationships in business, and they understood how to get people to want to follow them, not make them want. I want people that want to follow them. I want people to go like, I don't know if Shawn knows where he's going, but I'm going to follow him. I think he's going somewhere. I don't know if he knows where he's going, but I'll follow him because he's doing something.
Yeah. Change gears for a second as I interview successful entrepreneurs. Walk us through a typical day in your life.
Man.
Routine? You have what time you get up?
Probably about 5. I go work out. I do cardio for an hour. I do some like lightweight, high reps, 15, 20 minutes. I do some core. I go in my sauna for 20. I go in my cold plunge for 10. I go in my pool after that for about 20 to 30 to warm up because the cold plunge is pretty damn cold. And I start my day that way 7 days a week. 7 days a week I do that. It takes hours, so you can't wake up at 8 or 9 because then you're done at 1 or 2. Yeah. So It's made me feel better. I'm 51 years old. I want to be in good health. I've learned to talk to people I need to talk to, kind of deal. Because there is part of that, right? So, I'm on the elliptical, I can be on the phone. I'm on the cold plunge, I can be on the phone. My day starts right after that. Shower, change, ready to go. And I go all day till 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. I've learned I enjoy what I do. So like I need to keep doing it. I need additionally new challenges. So that's a big part for me as well. So that's important, but that's a 7-day a week deal. And I love it, but I feel off if I don't get up in the morning and do those things. I feel off if I don't do work. Every once in a great while, I heard David Goggins. I like David Goggins. And one day I was thinking about taking a day off from the gym and something popped up. I was thinking and Apple knew it. And it basically popped up and Goggins said, don't ever take a day off because life will make you take a day off eventually. Something will happen and you're da-da-da. And I was like, yeah, I'm not taking a day off. But it's such basic thought process. But it's like, true, like life's going to throw something at you anyway. So if I have my predicted, I'm going to take Tuesdays off. Well, hell, in 2 weeks from now, I might have a problem on Wednesday and Thursday with travel. And now I got 3 days off. So do it every day, man. Stay locked into my business. Get back to everybody within 24 hours. I wake up every morning and change my voicemail. I've been doing that 12 years. Every single day I wake up every morning, not some automated little deal. I wake up and say, I've reached a voicemail, Shawn Meaike, da-da-da-da, and I hang up and I change it. So if you call me, and I've done that because it makes me get up early too. So Trent, if I'm on the West Coast and it's 5 a.m. or 4 a.m., hell, 4 a.m. 7. And then I'm freaking out. Like if somebody calls me and it says it's the day before, I don't want them to think like I'm some lazy guy that can't.
That.
So I have to get up. Accountability, dude. So simple stuff. But that's a day in my life.
I know I only got you for 3 more minutes. We finish every podcast with you get to ask me whatever question you want.
So what has been the best thing first of all, you really do a really good job interviewing. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I mean it. I wouldn't say if I didn't mean it. What has been the biggest thing you've learned from a guest? Who was it and what did you learn on your podcast as a host?
Yeah, good question. I would say there's those aha moments, whether you go to a conference or you get in a new conversation with somebody that you admire. And those little aha moments, I think, are special. So probably this sounds like I'm name dropping here, but probably the best question or the best thing I ever learned was from Richard Branson. His curiosity blew me away. His authentic way of asking questions and wanting to know and wanting to help people was it was mind blowing. I thought I was just talking to some guy that was way out of my league and blah, blah, blah. And people say the same thing about Bill Clinton. They say that, he could walk in a room and make you feel like he wanted to know about you. And Branson was like that. He'll, respond to a birthday. Hey, hope your birthday is an amazing day. I don't know if it's him or it's his people, but he's genuinely curious. And that was probably a pretty special moment for me in terms of starting this. And that was something I learned. But the aha moments, I think, are people willing to be vulnerable, people willing to be authentic and learn. Here we are. Life's not perfect. You and I are going to make some mistakes today. But so many people just give their commercial instead of saying, hey, what can I learn from today? Because we all have something. No matter how good our life is, we have highs, we have lows, we have good, and it's how do we make more of those highs and less those lows? And if we're not learning on a daily basis, then we're not figuring it out. So these interactions are why I do it. It's a passion project because I get surrounded by a bunch of really cool people that look at life differently than 99% of the world. And, that's cool for me to be able to share those stories.
No, great answer. Thank you, by the way. It's been great getting on, man. You have really good energy about you.
Thank you. And I know you got to run. I appreciate it. I hope it's not our last time. Let's touch base again when you get more time.
Let's definitely do it, Trent. Appreciate it.